So here I am in Alaska this summer. My name is Drew Johnson. I'm a college senior from the Seattle area. This summer, I'm working as CIRI's corporate communications intern. I've already learned a lot. CIRI is an impressive company with investments in wind farms, real estate, shopping centers, power plants, and construction companies that do work all over the country. Since it all began, CIRI has delivered more than $1 billion in dividends to shareholders. Like I said, pretty impressive. But beyond excellence in business, I wanted to learn more about CIRI's cultural foundation. What does it mean to be CIRI? So, what does it mean to be CIRI? I didn't have the answer, so I turned to shareholders who work here.
Oh, man.
Well, that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
It's not an easy question to answer. CIRI's home is Anchorage, a city with strip malls and fast food restaurants, just like any city. Not exactly an Alaskan native village. But the CIRI region does have a cultural connection.
The underlying culture in the CIRI region, and it's something that we can't forget or minimize, is the Dena'ina Athabascan culture, right? But that being said, there really were a lot of folks from other parts of Alaska, other indigenous cultures, that decided to enroll in CIRI. And that creates for us a very unique company.
During the 1970s, Anchorage was filled with transplants, and the shareholders who enrolled in CIRI brought with them links to every indigenous culture in Alaska, a cultural diversity that is now seen as a strength.
A native perspective and what that brings is different for everyone. So I'm going to throw that term out there again. The melting pot of corporations is probably the biggest benefit of what CIRI is.
I think CIRI just has the benefit of having so many diverse backgrounds come together and bring all these cultural aspects in, and I think that's what makes us special.
You can have people who are from all over Alaska and have all different backgrounds, so we kind of each bring something unique to the table.
I think that it's a benefit that we're diverse and that we're not only mission driven on helping one group of people. It's sort of, we have an Alaska focus.
Every time I get to meet somebody, I'm happy, I'm thrilled, I want to know more about them, you know. I want to know where they came from and, you know, what cultures they have.
There's no better place to delve into culture than the Alaska Native Heritage Center, a place that celebrates all Alaska Native cultures. I came here to talk with Loren Anderson, the Vice President of Cultural Education, to get his thoughts on CIRI's unique diversity.
And yeah, I think it's cool that we can come together and celebrate our similarities, but I also think it's important to, you know, actually celebrate our differences too, because again, Alaska's so environmentally diverse, just like the people.
Celebrate our differences? I guess that's what makes the melting pot work. Here's another thing. Shareholder Tanisha Gleason had a good reminder for me. Our cultural connection is also about the land.
Culture is what keeps us together, and one of the things that keeps us together is the land, and the land is what gives us, I don't know, a seat at the table in some ways, you know, because if you want to have a voice, you have to have a common, something that unifies us, and I think the land really unifies us because it is part of our culture.
I realized I needed to spend more time experiencing the land. Time for a road trip. I'm from Seattle, so I haven't had the opportunity to spend much time in Alaska. Driving down to the Kenai Peninsula is spectacular. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but CIRI has one of the coolest regions in the state. From the Matanuska Glacier in the north to the southern shores of the Kenai Peninsula, CIRI owns hundreds of thousands of acres in the region. Ninilchik is one of the 7 villages in the CIRI region. Many residents are dependent on salmon fishing just like their ancestors thousands of years ago. They fish both commercially and for subsistence. This is where I ran into CIRI board member Roy Huhndorf, who served as CIRI's president for more than 20 years.
I had at least one, maybe 2 leaders from the north say CIRI would probably be the first to fail because we didn't have that cultural unity that they had. And it didn't turn out that way. We made great headway from the time we solved our land problems. We began working on our relationship problems with the villages, and by 2000, we were perhaps the most successful Native corporation in Alaska. So I guess I've never really thought about ourselves as a single culture. We've always thought of ourselves as Alaska Native, and we want to celebrate everybody's culture in the Alaska Indigenous family.
Like about 40% of CIRI shareholders who live outside of Alaska, I realize I have more in common with the tourists that float the Kenai River than a subsistence fisherman. The cool thing about CIRI, it brings us all together. Just like current president Sophie Minich said.
I kind of think of it like a mosaic that if you take a bunch of beach glass, and who knows where the little pieces and parts of glass came from, and they're all colorful and they all have character, and but when you put them all together, the work product is amazing and it's beautiful.
I like that, a mosaic, with all of our stories and cultures coming together, making something beautiful. That's what CIRI means to me.